In this video, we're going to go through the general overview features of the control window, just so you get a basic idea of what this window is about. We've talked about opening this up before and how to do that, but let's just kind of get you guys a kind of a review of that as well. Once the ProTrader's on the chart, if you lose that window, you can double click right here to get it back up. Now, unless you downsize it right here, then you cannot double click. You need to make sure you go down to your taskbar and click on it from the NinjaTrader window in the taskbar. All right. So just this quick overview. Now we've already went through the trade ticket and all of the features on the outside. So I want to talk about the rest of the features inside of this control window for the automation. You have three buttons down here at the bottom: automation, longs, and shorts, and we're going to go deep into all of these features and what they do coming up in other videos. All right, but those are basically, if they're red, they're not working. So if my automation is red but my longs and shorts are green, well, you're still not going to take any trades because you have no automation turned on. All right, the ignore button allows you to ignore or reverse trades. We'll talk about that in depth coming up. The options panel brings up all of the options, and I'll go through that in just a minute. And of course, the exit button exits any automated trades coming up. And like I said, we've already talked about all the trade ticket features, so we're not going to go back over those. Up here at the top, you'll see the strategies up here where if this is green, it's telling you that you're running a live strategy. So you would have to have automation turned green, but more than that, you would have to have one of your strategies turned on inside of here. All right, so if that's green, this is green, strategy's on, that's telling you you have a live strategy running. So that's kind of a fail safe. So you know if that's green, you've got a real strategy running. Now to rename where it says Auto Pro Trader up here, if I go into my file, actually it's going to be options, general, display, I can rename this to whatever I want. And it should be Auto Pro Trader 7 as that's what this is. But you can say, if you're running, say for example, the oil market, and whatever name behind it, I can set that thing to whatever I want, and now it changes the name up there. And again, we went through this specific feature in another video as well. Okay, now if you want to open up where you can control all of the features and how we want to set up the Auto Pro Trader, it's done in two places: either the options menu from here, or you can go to the trade control and click the options menu from here. Same window, but you can open it up in two different places. I just left click on my options window from the yellow button down here at the bottom. Now, the first tab is called the strategies tab. Underneath the strategies tab is where all of, well, you guessed it, the entry strategies are for the full automation. So if I want, for example, my breakouts strategy, I click that, and this is where I would set all of those settings for the entry to the breakouts. Now, if I want to control the money management portion, I click the positive button, and I go here to exits, and there I have my super trend exit, parabolic exit, advanced stop loss, trailing stop exit, and my targets. And again, all of this stuff we're going to go in depth coming up real soon. If I want to filter my breakouts, so I can say I only want to take breakouts if certain things happen, then I can go to here to filters, and I can choose any of my filters and set the settings. Okay, very important. Now, if you want to run more than one filter, you go here to breakouts and you set it where it says filters required. I want two filters to confirm. What that means is that if I'm running, say for example, my ADX, my alligator filter, and my CCI filter, by the way, if they're green, it means it's turned on, correct? You can see that. If those filters are on, all three of them, and I tell it filters required 2, that means 2 out of 3. 2 of those filters must confirm. Not all 3, just 2. Any 2, doesn't matter what order. Okay, so it's a pretty neat feature to have. If you just run this at 0, then that means, if you've got all filters on here, that means all filters have to agree. You don't have to put it at 3 for 3 out of 3. If it's at 0, they must all agree. Okay? Let's turn these back off. And again, if they're green, that means they're enabled. All right, and let's enable my filter, and again, you can see if it's green, it's enabled. Now remember what we talked about. Let's turn off the CCI. I don't want that on. I want my breakouts on. Okay, now notice that I just turned on that breakout strategy, I'm going to click OK. It's on up here. You have a live strategy, except automation still off here. That needs to also be green, and it's on the fly. As soon as I turn that green, I now have you're green here, you're green here, you're green here, you're green up here. Your strategy is running. Okay, bam, now it's not running. Or I can click one of these, go longs only, and I'll talk about the features of this because we have a trigger price enable immediately, and again, we're going to go in depth on this in an upcoming video. Let's go back to the options. I'm going to turn off my breakouts for a minute. So this is the area where you would go and turn on your strategies, and you would set all of your management and your filters for each individual strategy. Now you can run more than one strategy on your chart. So now I have two strategies turned on. I don't have any management yet, but we can set that. And it will work in a Boolean format, first in, first out. And that's where this ignore reverse function comes in. And again, we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth coming up. So right now I'm saying to my chart, to my strategy, that I want to take either the breakouts or the Q filter overbought oversold, whichever comes first. And then I will trade that trade until it finishes out, and then I'll look for one of those two trades again. Or if I have my reverse set function, and again we'll go into this in a bit, I can take either one of those in a reversal direction as well. Okay, so that's your strategies, and that's how the strategies work and what you guys can set. And this is going to be an area, if you're running automation, you're going to get very, very familiar with very quick. The jam strategies are just some of the ones that I put in here. These are all entries. We'll go over each individual entry coming up. The Q filter strategies are using a specific indicator that we had built for us that works on 10 time frames of charts. And the Inspire strategies are based on an indicator that's an advanced Q filter and CCI indicator that we built as well. Sessions tab allows us to choose days of week. I can choose Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And what's nice about this is when you're testing and back testing, you can see what days do what. And we'll have some advanced courses on this. Stops and targets allow me to set any exits, stop losses, and the stops and targets are for session stops and targets, not individual trade. They're different than setting up your stops and targets on each individual strategy. So the session stops and targets, let's say for example, if I'm trading the New York session and I want to run a session target of 30 ticks, once I hit 30 ticks on the next reversal bar, I will stop for the day. Or I can have a session stop loss. I want a stop loss of 20 ticks. Once I hit 20 ticks on the next reversal bar, I will stop on the day. And again, we'll go into this a lot more in depth coming up. Okay. Profit ticks, stop ticks, I can trail for the session, I can use a session break even. So almost all of the same things that are in your individuals, you can have set for each session. Times, there's 3 sessions that you can set up individually. And you can exit on the session close if that's set to true, and you can set the timed exit on, that's over in a different section in the general. But let's say when your session closes, you can exit that trade. Now, exit on session close 2, exit on session close 3. You can run the Asian session, the New York session, London session, however you want to run those, and it's going to work in that order. Start time and stop time are for each session. Notice I have the start time 1 set to 9:30, and let's make the start time 2 set to 1600 hours. Now this is assuming you have the right time frame. I'm setting this at New York time. If you're in the Pacific Coast, you're going to make that 6:30 and of course 1300 hours. Start time 2, I can set this to whatever I want. I could set this for, I don't know, let's say, and let's do this a little bit different because I want to run this for, let's run the stop time 1 to 11 o'clock. Then we'll start stop time 2 at 12 o'clock and run it through 1 o'clock, 1300 hours, and start time 3 I want to run from 1400 hours, and I'll finish that one out to 1600. And I can run these at different times of the day. The benefit here is that you can set it around news events, you can set it around lunch, you can set it around different market types such as the Asian Open, London Open, US Open. So that's what these sessions are for. Okay? And again, we're going to go in each one of these individually coming up. The General tab allows you to set your display area, font size, and you'll understand what these numbers mean. Logging section allows you to come in and, if we tell you that, let's say for example, and look, this is a big program, we may still have a bug or two in it, we don't know, it's clean, we feel like we've done a pretty good job with it, but if we do find a bug, we can have you set these up and try to duplicate it so we can find out where it's at. Order flags allow you to set the order flag color. Order handling allows us to how we're going to exit our trades, exit on close of this. Again, once we close our session, we can exit on that close true, exit on close in seconds, 30 seconds later. Sync account position is if you're trading a live account, you can make sure that account position is synced. Usually leaving that on false, if you understand how this works, is fine. And then of course the manual trade management ticket, we've talked a lot about that in previous videos, and we went through each one of these. So that's your general overview of your trade ticket window.